Hey everyone, Happy New Year, Happy 2020. I just wanted to go ahead and share a couple of things that have been just swirling around in my mind as we're looking at approaching a new year, leaving 2019, entering into 2020. And I saw an overwhelming amount of posts that were similar in what they were saying and sounding of like 2019 being a hard year. A lot of struggle, a lot of toil, a lot of unexpected, a lot of just like people that were very relieved for 2020 to be done and to be entering into, or sorry, for 2019 to be done and to be entering into 2020. And as I've been thinking about that a couple days ago, God just reminded me of the verse in Philippians 1, verse 6 that says, "He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion." And it just struck me so deeply in my soul and in my spirit because I feel like I would similarly say 2019 was not a year that I expected it to be, not like a year for the books in the sense of like, oh, I accomplished this, I did that, it was this highlight and everything I dreamed it would be. And like, no, it was a lot of growth and discomfort and discovery and dealing with and facing and working through and which like I'm grateful for it. And when I think about the new year and how a lot of people, it's the whole new year, new you, clean slate. And while I think that's like good and there's biblical, precedent to say in like Isaiah when God says, I'm doing a new thing, it springs up, do you not perceive it? So God is always doing something new. And so I don't want you to hear me wrong. But I don't think God wants us to say, right off 2019, thank goodness that year is done with and you get a new one and a clean slate and you never have to think about last year again. It's like, no, I've been just thinking over and over and over again about God's promises that say that he works together all things for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his plan and his purpose, and that he brings beauty from ashes, and that he is a redeemer, that he is a restorer, that even what the enemy meant for evil and for harm, God can use it and will use it for our good and for his glory. And so nothing is wasted in God. Nothing that happened in 2019 is wasted in God. If your heart is for him and running toward him, pursuing him, intimate with him, just loving him. That doesn't mean living life perfectly. It doesn't mean crossing every T and dotting every I. It just means the posture of your heart, the disposition of your heart is, God, I want to honor you with my life. And I understand that now as a Christian, my life is not my own and I was bought at a price. Then God, every single thing in my life you can use, you can turn, you can redeem, you can teach me, mold me, make me, shape me. And so I just want to, as we're in the new year today, the first day of the new year, I just want to hopefully bring some encouragement to people who are thinking, oh my gosh, 2019, what a whirlwind. I want to just write it off, forget about it. Let's go into the new year and never have to think about it or talk about it again. Now, I'm not saying wallow in the past. I'm not saying live with regret. I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is that you can look back on your past year and no matter what it looked like, even if it was so different than you expected, he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. Every season is included in that. Every hardship is included in that. Every victory, every loss, every good day, every bad day, every up, every down is included in the journey that God has for you, and saying that he who began, he is the Alpha and the Omega. He's not going to leave you halfway. He's not going to leave you high and dry. He's not going to leave you without. And so I just know for me, that's something that has been, like I said, just stirring in my heart. I've been thinking about it over and over and over again, that I don't want to despise my previous year. I don't want to look back on my last season and just say, thank goodness it's over. Let's move on. It's like, no, I want to look at it and say, God, I don't want to miss the lesson. I don't want to miss the point. I don't want to miss what that year and what those seasons were designed to produce in me. And from that, God can build into my 2020. Because God is a God of building, and he's from strength to strength and glory to glory and faith to faith. So again, I get the sentiment of clean slate, new year, new you, and all of that. But in reality, it's not. Yes, God is doing a new thing, but he's doing it building upon the journey that he has already brought you on and will continue to bring you on until its day of completion, which is when we step into eternity or when Jesus returns. And so, so all that to say, I hope that when you look back on your 2019, no matter what it looked like, you know that he who began a good work in you is going to bring it to completion. So that should bring excitement and passion for 2020 and what he's going to do in this season of your life and in this year. And also, the one other note I want to say is just like with New Year's, we do get so introspective. We get so like, I'll do this and I'll be disciplined and I'll add this habit and I'll work out and I'll change my diet and I'll do X, Y, and Z. But the reality is, without God, like our best day without him is like just miserable. We can't really produce all that much without him, at least nothing that's lasting and that's fruitful and that's good. And so bring God into your 2020, bring God into those resolutions, bring God into those ideas and passions and dreams and purpose and pursuit and the growth and the digging and the deep work that he wants to do in you, because he's the one that began the work and he's the one that's going to bring it to completion. We are foolish to think if we're the ones that started something in our lives and that we're the ones that are going to end it. Like, he is the author and the perfecter of our faith. And it's only human nature to kind of veer away to say, oh, I'm kind of hitting my stride. I can do this, until he reminds us, not apart from me. And again, I don't mean that in a discouraging way, but just as a reminder, bring God into that. And because he's the one that started the work, he's the one that's going to complete it. He's the one that will redeem all things, use all things, turn all things for your good and for his glory. And so with that, I am praying and believing for a phenomenal year, because that's what God does. He builds and he brings us forward, and he has good works set in advance for us to do. And he's growing us, molding us, teaching us, maturing us, and shaping us. And so for that, I am super excited for another year, and I'm excited to see all that God does and all that we're able to do with him in our partnership with him. So hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you guys later.